Humans of planet Earth, welcome back to JRE in a nutshell. I am your host, Rafa, and sorry I've been out for a couple of weeks. I've been having some personal issues, but everything is totally fine. So, we are in kind of a hurry because we have a spoiler alert today. In case this is the first time you see a spoiler alert in this channel is when there's rumors about a guest, but it's not 100% sure. Sometimes Joe says, hey, this person, Joey Diaz, is coming or whatever. But in this case, there's zero confirmation for Joe. It's completely speculative. And I don't think that this spoiler is true, but let's see. So, since we don't have much time from the last 2 weeks, the episodes that I missed, these are the top five that I recommend you. From the top five, Andrew Schultz number one, Joey Diaz number two, and MMA with Matt Serra, Dean Thomas, and John Rallo third, Brian Simpson fourth, David Holthouse the fifth. Okay, let's get that out of the way. And today we have the conversation with Brendan O'Neill, pretty interesting guy, British political commentator, and yeah, it was a very interesting conversation. But first, as usual, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and press that bell, and tell your friends and all that stuff. Share as usual. I am in all of the social media, and yeah, that's it. Let's get to it. So they start talking about the end of the world, World War III, and all of the risk that's going on there, and they speak about Greta, the spoiled teenager. Well, she's now 21 apparently. Finally, she can drink a beer. And climate change, obviously, everything that has to do with this wonderful lady. And trans women in sports, a lot about Leah Thomas and Rayleigh Gaines and laws and everything. And all this stuff that's happening in the NCAA right now, crazy shit. It's all crazy shit always. And then for the very long time, I think half of the conversation they go hard on shit. Sorry guys, I'm out of touch. So they speak a lot about Israel and Gaza, and this guy is extremely pro-Israel, like to the point when it's too much. It's too much. The Gaza Israel. If you wanna know my opinion, the Gaza Israel conflict is, I don't think anybody's right, anybody's wrong. Hamas is evil. Netanyahu is evil. It's like it's bad against bad, in my opinion. And this guy is like, yeah, because they killed 1,200 people in a terror attack, Israel has all the right to go there and kill 30,000 civilians. And then when Joe goes like, yeah, but that's a little bit too much. Well, in the past, wars in the past have been worse. There's been wars, and that's his whole argument. We're allowed to do this now because somebody did it in the past. I'm sorry, dude, but I don't fucking agree. But whatever. I am only here as an spectator. And then they finish with it's a cult, as usual, explaining why it's all a cult and all that stuff. So, pretty cool conversation. I would have given the guy 4 nuts, to be honest. But all of this fucking religious fanatic cultism, he's talking about a cult, and I think he's following Israel like a cult. So, I'm gonna bump half a nut down. So, 3.5 nuts for Brendan O'Neill. Interview is pretty interesting. It's definitely worth the time, especially if you're into politics and what's going on politically and all that stuff. So, cool. Now, as I mentioned, let's talk about the spoiler alert. The spoiler alert is a possible visit by Tucker Carlson. Now, what happened? What's the story? The story is that Tucker went into Kill Tony, this comedy show where Joe and his friends are all the time. Joe was there sitting right next to him. And Russell Brand, in a video from Russell Brand, he said that, yeah, maybe Tucker is coming to Joe because he saw them together in Kill Tony. But I know for a fact, I think Joe said it in one of the interviews in the last 2 weeks. He said that Tucker came because he was doing Lex Friedman's podcast, who is also in Austin. And then Lex called him. They had dinner, the three of them. And then Joe said to Tucker, hey, you want to come to Kill Tony? And he said, fuck yeah. So that's all I know. If they did an interview the next day or something, maybe, I don't know. Russell Brand seems to think that the interview is coming. I hope so. I would really like to see that interview. but I have no idea. This is completely not confirmed. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for waiting and all that stuff. As usual, I have nothing to do with Joe Rogan or the Joe Rogan Experience. And don't forget to stay for the quote of the day. I will see you next time. Peace.
I think it's really important for people, for working class people, to understand how much this new elite hates them. It really hates them with a visceral passion. And we see it in the United Kingdom and we see it in the United States. In the United States, you have the Hillary Clinton basket of deplorables view of these people, or Biden referring to them as semi-fascists, or even going back to Barack Obama, who was probably more sensible than those two, saying these people cling to their Bibles and their guns and they're scared of foreigners. In the UK, it expresses itself with the description of these people as gammon. They're referred to working class people who vote for Brexit.
What is gammon?
Gammon is a reference to their red faces, you know, lower class, middle-aged men, red in the face. They're called gammon. Gammon is pygmy, right? And it brings to mind what Edmund Burke said about the democratic multitude in the 1700s, and he referred to them as the swinish multitude. That image of the pig-like masses has come back. It's so important, I think, for working class people to know that this new establishment hates them with a passion. And that's why the working class revolts against this establishment that have taken place over the past decade or so, the election of Trump, the vote for Brexit, the vote for various populist parties in Europe, is such an important turning point, because this is ordinary people staking their claim to a voice in public life and saying we matter, our economic needs matter, our cultural values matter, our community matters, our families matter. That's what these people are saying. And so when people say, you know, Donald Trump is a blunt instrument, he's an unwieldy cudgel for these people to use against the establishment, absolutely right. But what other instrument did they have? What other weapon did they have?